Hi, welcome to our channel Let's Talk Tamil, your go-to destination for mastering conversational Tamil. Today, we are going to look at some pronouns like he, she, they, etc. Let's get started. The first word is he. It's also pronounced as avan. The way you say the word is a, avan. So like an oven, oven. The is, you don't drag it like a, it's a, like an uh. So it's split into two, a, one, a, one, oven, right? Let's look at some examples. He is my friend. Avan in nanban. Nanban is the Tamil word for friend. He is my brother. Avan in tambi. Tambi is the Tamil word for brother. He is coming. Avan varan. Varan means coming. He is my father. Avar in appa. Note the difference here. It's highlighted in red. That's because you see it's quite different from these three usage of the word avan. Here you say avar. This is because it's a variation to be used when we are addressing the person we are addressing to as a he is elder to you or someone you want to address with respect. We'll see more on that later, but I just wanted to point out this variation that exists. For she, we say aval. So it's the same sound that as before, like an but val is like an vulture, like that pronunciation is val. So aval is the way we say it. So as in val as in l. There's more stress on the L, even though it's not like the L in vulture, but you just stress on L a little bit. So val. So aval is what you should say for she. Let's look at some examples. She is my friend. Aval in Toji. She is my sister. Aval in Tangai. She is coming. Avo vara. The reason I've highlighted this in red is because I just wanted to show you avo is also an accepted variation for aval, meaning for the word she. So for she, you can use either aval or avo. Both are, you can use interchangeably. It's up to your preference, right? So let's look at another example. So she needs help. அவளுக்கு உதவி தேவை. Right? So it's a slightly different way of putting it. So because the help is needed for her. So in this case you can't say அவள். So you say அவளுக்கு, meaning it's for her. உதவி is help. தேவை needs. So help is needed for her. That's why you say அவளுக்கு over here. So now that we finished he and she, right, we are going to look at addressing the same way, same variation, but with respect, right? So when you say he or she with respect, what do you say? So the variation is avar when for he with respect, like a father or an uncle or just anybody elder to you who is of this male category. But for she, you say avanga, right? More on that later, but avanga, right? For she. So that's what I'm saying. So let's look at one by one. So for he, you say avar. So va, r, avar, va, r, avar for he. Va, nga, inga. You don't. So it's not n is not silent. You just say it lightly. Inga. Avanga for she. You got it? So basically, when you say he or she, with respect, either you can say avar or avanga. Let's look at some examples. He is here. So in this case, we say avar vandachu. She is coming. Avanga vara poranga, meaning future tense. So that's why you say vara poranga. He needs help. Avarukku udavi தேவை. This is similar to what we saw in the she example, but this is a variation where you use he with respect in this scenario. So you say, instead of saying avalukku udavi தேவை, we are saying avarukku udavi தேவை. Because in Tamil, like I was saying previously, we say it's different. So avarukku means for him, udavi is help, தேவை means needs. So which means help is needed for him, is how you structure the sentence in Tamil, right? So because it's for him, you say avarukku, right? So you just don't say avar udavi thevai. That's not how you say it in Tamil. Let's say the last example we see is give this to her. Avanga kitta ida kudu kudu. So I'm trying to keep this simple where to show that you just drop the letter and you don't drag it. That's why I've used this wherever is needed. So in this case, I'm using the word over you. So it's not kudu, it's kudu. Kudu. This is, you say it correctly like ku, but here you don't say do. It's not kudu, it's kudu. Here you shorten it. That's why I put the symbol, this one. So avanga kitta ida kudu means give this to her, right? So we saw he, we saw she, we saw with respect. Now let's look at plural, which is they. For they, we say it's easier. Combined to the previous example, we say ava. So is, drop it like the symbol is there. Va, ava. Pretty simple, right? Let's look at some examples. We say they are here. So we say ava vanditta. Ava vanditta. They have left. Ava kalambitta. Kalambitta. They are playing. Ava vilayadra. So whenever you see a bigger example, I would say just break it into a couple of words, right? So if you see vilayadra, so you say vilayadra, then you bring it together, vilayadra, right? So similarly, you say here, you can break it here. So you say kalambitta, kalambitta. Similarly, vandutta, right? Don't get, if the word looks bigger, just break it into 2 or 3, whichever makes easier for you, and then just try and put it together. So now we finished he, she, and then they. Now, but what do you say for you, right? Like, how do you say you? You say ni. Pretty simple, right? It's pretty straightforward. There's no examples needed. Let's look at. Okay, you come here. Ni inga va means inga means here, va means come. So ni inga va. You come up. Ni mele va. You can go play. Ni vilayada polam. Polam means can go. Vilayada means to play. You can go to play. So you can go play means ni vilayada polam in Tamil. So okay, but then you say you, like we have seen previously, there should be a variation where now we say with respect, right? So let's look at that option. So when you say you, but then the you is an elderly person elder to you, so you have to say with respect. You don't say ni, you say ning. So it's basically the same as ni, but then you add the word ng next to it, right? And then that becomes a offering of respect when addressing the person, right? So ning. So it's not, that's the reason you see this letter. You don't say ninga, you say ning, you drop it like right? Ng as in eating, ng, right? நீங்க, நீங்க. Okay, let's look at some examples. Okay, you come here. நீங்க இங்க வாங்க. It's the same example that I've tried to use it as before, whereas at that time we say நீ இங்க வா, right? But with respect, you add the word inga, right? So then it becomes like நீங்க இங்க வாங்க. You come up. So what we said before was நீ மேல வா, right? Now we are saying with respect, you should say நீங்க மேல வாங்க. That's the reason we have highlighted. This has been highlighted in yellow. You like to read as a question. So then it becomes உங்களுக்கு படிக்க பிடிக்குமா? பிடிக்குமா means like. படிக்க means read. I mean to read. Let me put it that way. To read means படிக்க. உங்களுக்கு to you. So it's basically do you like to read in Tamil, right? So we saw he, she, and then we saw with respect, and then we saw plural, they, and then we saw you with the respect variation. Now let's look at so since we did all that, but how do you say me, right? How do you address yourself? So for self, you say na, na, right? It's pretty straightforward. Let's look at some examples. I am going to play. Na விளையாட போறேன். See, wherever this is there, make sure that you drop and don't drag it the sound, right? I will come down. Na கீழே வரேன். Not varén. Varén. Kira. No, not kira. It's kira. ZH is a very common sound in Tamil. Like this is the ZH. So it's j. It's you should get used to it because this is very commonly used in Tamil. Even in Tamil, like even though you say Tamil, the actual pronunciation is Tamizh. So it's Tamil, right? That's why you keep hearing me say it that way, even though it's typed as Tamil. Just so that you know, in the actual language, it's called Tamil, right? So let's look at the last one. So we say, I will eat later. Na அப்புறமா சாப்பிடுறேன். Okay, so if it's a bit difficult, so you say அப்புறமா அப்புறமா சாப்பிடுறேன். 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 Okay. How do we say plural as we, right? So for we say நாங்க. நாங்க. So now that you're familiar with this, I'm not going to stress on it. So it's the same thing. So na plus et ing g as in ing and then so nanga. Like how you did ninga, it's basically instead of the ee, it's aa. So ninga, nanga, right? Let's look at the examples. We say we are going to play. So it's the same way. The same examples have been used, and this will show the variations, right? So let's go before, so I can at least show you the first example. So we are going to play. We is நாங்க விளையாட போறோம். So I think when we said I am going to play, I would have said நான் விளையாட போறேன், right? But here it's because we are using the plural, we are going to say போறோம். Right? We will come down. So நாங்க கீழே வரோம். We will eat later. நாங்க அப்புறமா சாப்பிடுறோம். So anywhere you say re as I, when you make it we say rom. You say போறோம், வரோம், சாப்பிடுறோம் as a variation, if that makes sense. So we saw 8 words today with some variations in them, right? So first is he, we say oven. She, we can use two, although predominantly I use aval or avo, right? But then when you use with respect, he becomes avar and she becomes avanga. They, as a plural, becomes ava, ava. When you address you, you say ni, but then if you want to address someone with respect, you say ninga. Then you say I. How do you address yourself? You say na. And then when you address yourself as plural, and then like with if you're with your friends, you say naga, naga. I have written a note here, just not to confuse you, but just to show as an interesting point. Even though I've written avanga to be used for she with respect, right? Like when you respect, when you say mother, aunt, grandmother, anybody with respect, right? Or just an elderly lady, you use avanga, right? But then avanga can also be used for they. So when you say ava, you can also use avanga. That's also commonly accepted for plural. I just didn't use it there because I didn't want to confuse, but I just wanted to show it as an example of something interesting, right? Hope that makes sense. Thank you so much for seeing this video today. If you liked it, please like and subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with our videos. Thank you. See you soon.